Now then, by my very special guest. He's been in the world of karate for many, many years. First of all, let's find out how I greet him. We're talking to Alan Davies. Good evening to you, Alan.
Hello, good evening.
Yes. Is it senpai?
It's Shihan. He was
All right,
senpai,
it
but
was.
it's Shihan now.
They've given you a promotion,
Promotion, yeah. It's been Shihan for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
Senpai is teacher,
Right.
and then Senpai is senior, and Sensei is teacher, and then Shihan is master. So
Right.
I'm master.
Oh, excellent. Well, I knew that.
Believe it or not.
Let's go back to the very, very, very beginning, because, you know, I think people do appreciate, don't they, that these things take a long time. It's not a case of just going along to a club, learning the art in perhaps a year or two. It's a long, long process. Go back to the very beginning then, Alan. When did you start?
Well, I started in 1974 in a sort of community hall in Caerphilly. It was very, very basic in those days. A lot different to what it's become now, where it's, you know, it's much more technical. Where there wasn't many high grades around, and it was very basic and very hard. It was much harder, but without much knowledge going on there.
Yeah.
And that was in 1974, over 40 years ago now.
So what inspired you? Was it just because Kung Fu fighting, Bruce Lee comes to mind, of course, that era, wasn't it?
You've got it exactly right. I worked with a chap, and he was training in the club at the time, and he was telling me about this magical thing where you can break pieces of wood and be able to fight off 20 people in one go. And then, of course, the Bruce Lee films came out. So I was hunting around. I couldn't find any Kung Fu like the Bruce Lee films. So I went along with this chap and then found he knew nothing whatsoever.
He'd been fibbing all along, had he?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you went to Caerphilly, and then what happened after that? Because you moved then up to the valleys, a little bit further up valley, didn't you?
I moved then to Hawthorne Leisure Centre. I was there just for a year. And then that club closed, so I moved then up the valleys to Mountain Ash YMCA, where I spent most of my training life with my instructor, Senpai Wayne Smith, who I still regard now as my
hero?
My hero,
yeah.
And although I'm a much higher grade than him now, I'm sure he'd still teach me a few things.
Yeah. Of course, you began with Howard Collins, didn't you?
Yeah,
Initially in Mountain Ash,
Howard Collins was in Hawthorne when I went to Hawthorne, but he was in the process of spending a lot of time in Sweden, so he wasn't around at that time then. He'd left and he'd gone to Sweden where he was living, and then the club closed, so I had to find another club, so that's how I ended up in Mountain Ash, where he used to visit that club quite regular.
Right. And Howard then eventually, of course, moved to Sweden. So let's have a look at this process then of getting from white to black belt, because kids, they want to become black belts in 6 months. We know that's not going to happen. So you start off as a student with your white belt, and how many colours does it take then, Alan, to get from white to black?
Well, with the children, they have bars on their white belt first of all, leading them up to the first colour, which is red belt. And then you have 2 grades at red belt, so that could be quite a long time. That could be 6 months to a year just to get through those 2 grades.
Yeah.
And then,
is that something new that's coming over the last?
Yeah, it's trying to encourage children, because they feel they need to feel they're achieving something, because years ago it was straight from white belt to red belt, and you could be a year maybe before you just passed that 1 grade.
Yeah, so it's to shorten, it's to encourage kids, I guess, then, is it?
Yes, to like small achievements. And then the colours go sort of red, 2 grades for red, and then 2 grades for blue, and then it's 2 grades for yellow, 2 grades for green, 2 grades for brown, and then you go to black belt then, where you go up the dans then, which is first dan, first black belt, second dan, third, and so on, working your way back up.
So how many years then? 5, 6 years, and with dedication and training?
I think these days, even with full commitment and being able to spend a lot of time, in our style of karate, you're not going to get a black belt in less than 5 years. I actually was 5 years from 1 grade to another, and I was training full on at that time. So it can take you longer, but it depends on how regular and how committed you are. I was 7 years between another grade and another grade. So I must have been a very, very slow learner.
All very patient and dedicated, because that's what you need. You need that dedication, Alan, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot to learn. It is a lot of commitment, but there's a lot of rewards as well. Fantastic rewards. I've made unbelievable friends for life. You know, you might think we bash each other about, but 1 minute you're sort of bashing each other on the mat, and then you're shaking hands and best of friends, because the idea is your opponent isn't your enemy.
Yeah.
Your opponent's there really to get the best out of you. So it's a funny sort of thing where you're hitting lumps at each other, and the next minute you're friends.
Yeah, which is always good news. Little soft drink afterwards. Now then, you moved in from Mountain Ash to Abercynon, and you've been there quite a while now, Alan.
Yeah, it's way over. We had a 25-year celebration, but I got a feeling it was already way over 25 years when we had the celebration. I'm terrible for not. I'm always thinking forward rather than back. We've achieved an awful lot as a club, fantastic achievements, but I'm still always looking for the next thing and the next thing. So it must be nearer 30 years that we've been in Abercynon.
Fantastic achievement. Now then, you train 3 times a week,
Yeah.
Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So give us an insight then into youngsters or the parents who are listening maybe to the show now, listening to you talking. How do they go about joining the club?
Well, we have a very young class on a Monday. That's little kickers. They start at 6 o'clock and they just train for 3/4 of an hour. That's on a Monday. And then we have the junior class starts around 6:45 and they go until 7:30. And then we got adults then and more advanced people, which is about 7:45 until 9:30, and that's on a Monday.
And then, is that the same on a Wednesday, or is
A
it
Wednesday's
just for the
slightly
juniors?
different. The very young ones don't come on a Wednesday. It's 6:30 for the juniors till 7:30, and then 7:30 until 9:30 for the adults and
Yeah.
advanced juniors.
Yeah, and then on a Friday?
A Friday is more of a fitness evening, where the junior class is the same, 6:30 till 7:30. But then at 8 o'clock till 9, just gone 9:15, it's more of a circuit fitness lesson for people who just want to get fit, and also for fighters who want to really push their fitness. So it's the sort of thing that anyone could take part in, if you're a fighter or just somebody who wants to improve their fitness.
So how many clubs in Wales at the moment then?
Well, in my group of clubs, which is the BKK or BKK Wales we call ourselves, we have 11 clubs in Wales.
And competition-wise, the Welsh Open, the British Open, and of course the Worlds too.
Yeah, we only just last Saturday had the Welsh Open, which was in Shihan Sports Centre in Merthyr, and brilliant success. We had fighters come from all over the place, different countries, and it was really well attended. Our club was very successful. We have got some real good athletes in the club. Luke Baldwin, who's a black belt in our club, he won the advanced category, so congratulations to him. And then we had a junior black belt, she won her category, and we took home about another three trophies from the youngsters as well.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Now people listening, they've heard of karate, of course, but there's different styles, and you were Kyokushinkai.
Yep.
And
Kyokushinkai.
Yeah, and that was founded by Steve Arneal, wasn't it?
It was founded by Masayama in
Right.
Japan. Masayama was the founder. He was born in Korea, although a lot of people may think he was Japanese because he moved to Japan as a youngster. And he did Goju-Ryu with, off the top of my head, I can't remember the famous instructor he had. And he also did Shotokan with Gucci Funakoshi, who was the founder of Shotokan. And he sort of, he was also quite proficient at judo, and he sort of...
he was certainly somebody not to argue with.
Yeah, well,
that comes to mind straight away.
He's mythical, really. He used to he used to fight bulls to test his power and strength. He could,
oh, right. Well,
he could beat a bull.
I don't fancy that later.
No.
Yeah. So that's the style is Kyokushinkai.
Yeah.
So where does Steve Arneal come into it?
Steve Arneal, he heard of this karate that had a reputation as being very strong. Masayama had started to develop a club then in Tokyo, so he moved from Africa where he lived, Steve Arneal, to Japan, and tried to join the dojo and train. And he showed great skills straight from the beginning. And he, although little in stature, what a character, and what a strong character. And he showed, you know, that he was as good as the best. Ultimately, doing a real test of a 100-man committee where he fought 100 people one after each other under the supervision of Masuyama.
That takes some stamina, doesn't it?
Oh, unbelievable. There's not many people in the world who would succeed in that.
Yeah, Howard Collins did.
Howard Collins did it as well, yeah. There's very special people.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many people who would be able to do it.
And both men fit and healthy?
Yeah, very.
Because Steve is, he's a good age now, isn't he, Steve?
He's 83, but he's incredible for his age.
Yeah.
You know, he's still teaching, he's still doing little bits. He's not doing everything, obviously.
No.
Yeah, but he's still absolutely incredible for his age.
Right. Now, before you go, Japanese 1 to 10. Go on.
Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ruk, shich, hach, kyu, zhu.
Well done. On the spot. Yeah, you've done that a few times, though. Yeah. And karate itself, it's handwork, kicks. That's primarily it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a sport, and it's more than a sport as well. There's self-defense, but there's an ethic behind it as well. There's an underlying sort of Zen mentality where you're trying to self-improve all the time. You're trying to get the best out of yourself. Really, the sports side of it, competition and so on, is just the top of the iceberg. There's so much more to it than meets the eye. You know, where I was first thought I would take it up and become be able to defend myself against multiple opponents. I realised then that there was more to it and something else that attracted me. You know, the ethic and everything. Yeah.
And what sort of ages can join? You know, youngsters. You mentioned that with the little kickers. Yeah. What about? Is there an upper limit?
There's not really. It's obviously people do the best they can. You know, I always warn people, don't do everything, just do what you can do. There's no real upper limit. Obviously, you've got to be careful, and I would advise somebody to be checked with a doctor before they do something and maybe hurt themselves. But it's progressive, it's gradual. Some people say to me, I want to come, but I want to get fit. But to me, they're doing it the wrong way round. You come and you get fit. Yeah. You know, it's just they don't have to kill themselves.
No. Well, Alan, great success. It's been a huge success over the years. Are you still the coach of the Welsh team?
I resigned last year.
All right, because I've been introduced to you as the current coach, but you did it for a number of years, didn't you?
I've done it for. It's surprising how long I have done it. I think it's near. I don't think it's 25 years, but it's not far off.
That's a long time, isn't it?
It was about time I moved aside, really, for someone else.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much. You're looking fit, Al. You're looking well. The club is doing really, really well. Come back to have a chat with us. You're always welcome at GTFM. And thanks very much for coming in to have a chat with us this evening. And people could just turn up on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday.
Yeah, definitely.
At the Abercynon Sports Centre.
They'll have a great welcome. We're a very friendly club. We're more than just a karate club. We've got a fantastic social side. They'd be very welcome.
Okay, Alan, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
What's going on across Romford, Cumberland Town?